Have you ever been in a space in your life where you're like, I don't know what's going on. I don't really know what's coming. But what I do know is that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. So I am going to ride this wave, even if it makes me uncomfortable because it's not where I want to be. Now, I know that that may seem like a tongue twister and an absolute mind cluster insert, but that's where I am. And it took me a long time to figure out how I got here. And it took me until making the decision to record this episode that I am exactly where I am supposed to be, because I am in need of a new testimony, and how I am showing up and gathering myself, praying my way through it while also taking action is not just proving to God that I'm listening, but it's proving to myself that I am enough, I am worthy, and more important, I am willing to do what it takes to master excellence on this level. Welcome to the Big Profit Energy Podcast. I'm your host, Kim McCarter. Now, I'm going to give you a heads up. This is not your average business talk podcast. Big Profit Energy is all about the raw, the real, and the radical. I'm going to be your guide, your coach, and the voice in your ear, reminding you that you got this. This is your season of Big Profit Energy, where bold moves, brave dreams, and big profits are just the beginning. And as a reminder, baby, you got this.
Yeah.
If you've been following me on social media, you may have heard me say a time or two that it's important to make sure that the goals that you are setting, the tasks that you are going after, the visions that you believe you are seeing are actually based on your wants, your needs, your desires, and not what you are being marketed to, because so many people in the personal development space are using things like neurolinguistic programming, embedded commands, and other techniques to have more persuasive marketing. And y'all, I have a confession. I don't know what or where I'm being moved into. Actually, I take that back. I know where I'm being moved into. I just don't know what the path looks like, because I have made the decision to surrender and give complete control over to God. And my job is only to show up in co-creation and use my human will to do what He is calling me to do. So I do know where I am headed. I am unclear of what that path looks like. And for the last couple of weeks, I have been leaning heavily into the conversation of having premium digital products. Premium digital products is this idea that you should have digital products that allow people to learn from you, completely self-study at their own pace, but you should not charge pennies on a dollar for it. It should be premium price, nothing under $100. In fact, my suggested price points are going to be anywhere from like a $111 for a replay all the way up to $1,500, depending on what the course entails. And for $1,500, you do not have to include live sessions or anything like that, right? And in fact, I actually teach a little bit of this in my energetic coaching system program. But I've been having this conversation on Instagram for the last couple of weeks. If you are not following me on Instagram, please make sure you are, because I am back in my live stream era and I do be dropping gems. I'm just going to be completely honest and transparent with you. We are moving people on Instagram, and I am actually having the time of my life doing it. I just wrapped up a series called New Money Honey, where I talked about how I used live stream to create digital products and kill multiple birds with one stone. That was a 5-day series that I had over on Instagram just last week. One of the things I have realized is this premium digital product conversation, it really just dropped down into my soul and I kind of just ran with it. And honestly, just a few moments ago, the reason why I sat down to record this episode is because I had one of the biggest ahas I have ever had. And I realized that somewhere in my journey, I got this idea in my head that I wasn't enough and that I wasn't worthy of the things that I desired. And that came from this idea that I was not living up to the expectations of others. And what I mean by that is I really started looking around at the people I knew in the industry who were posting their Stripe accounts, who were celebrating multi-million-dollar years, and I felt like I wasn't good enough because I wasn't in their shoes. Not because I was envious of them, but because of this idea that if I'm in this circle and they're saying they're making $2 million a year, why aren't I making $2 million a year? Downplaying the idea that I was a high earner. I was making multiple six figures per year and doing it in a way that was ethical, doing it in a way that gave me my time freedom, and doing it in a way that put me in position to help thousands of entrepreneurs make tens of millions of dollars, including the very people who were celebrating these $2 million wins. And I was excited for doing that work. But when I looked to my left and I looked to my right and my bank account didn't match theirs, I felt like I wasn't enough. So I started shifting what I was doing so that way I could have those kind of results in myself, and realize that along the way in doing that, I was crashing and burning, not even realizing I was crashing and burning because I was used to working at my outer limit and working out my outer limit and not obeying what God was calling me to do. He literally was like, okay, well, let me sit you down until you figure out that what you're doing is not what I put you here to do. And I need you to get back on the good foot. I couldn't repeat all of that if I wanted to, because I am really speaking from the heart, right? And I know that this is an important conversation to have because there is someone else out there who is listening to this, who you feel like what you're doing is not enough simply because it doesn't look like what it looks like for your business friends. And I want you to know, and I want you to understand that what you are doing is enough, even if you aren't living your desired life just yet. You have to stay on the path that you are being called to, because you can't hold on to a vision that is not yours and also expect to be quantum leaped into your greatness. Like, that is not how this is going to work. That is not the way that you are going to do that. And it is in me having my own revelation that I am starting to realize that there are more and more people in these shoes. And one of the things that I also had to realize is that even when I was going through all of that and trying to figure it out, it was hard and it was difficult. But now that I'm on the other side of it, I realized that I had to go through that. One, because I was disobedient. Two, because I was trying to do it my own way instead of following what I was called to be, which again sounds like disobedience. But what it really is a lack of wisdom and open heart to understanding the process that I was in, because I was so determined to do it my way. I would rather stay there and be stuck because I was comfortable in that space instead of doing what I needed to do to be pushed into a new dimension. The third thing that I also had to realize is now that I am on the other side of it, it's giving me a new testimony. It's giving me a new story. So that way, those of you who are there or going through it, you can remember that you are enough. Last night, I did a training on how to become a marketing and money magnet through human design. And one of the things that I talked about in this training was that you are worthy, and understanding that your self-worth is different than your confidence, right? You can show up and be in full confidence, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are in full self-worth. Those are actually two different conversations. And sometimes we don't know and we don't understand that. We think that if we are confident and we are bold, that we are also living in the full expression of our self-worth. And we aren't. You are worthy just because you are here and you are enough. Does that mean that you can't grow and be a better person? That doesn't mean that at all. It also helps us to understand that we are evolving. And that is one of the things that we are constantly going to do. But once we master where we are, we have to be prepared for what that next level is going to look like. But not just that next level, but what is the vision that we are stepping into? One of the reasons why it was so difficult for me to figure this out is because I was trying to go back and fix my wrongs. I was trying to go back and fix it and get it back to where it was, instead of realizing that I can't go back. I can't go back in time. I can't fix it. The only thing I can do is move forward. And in moving forward, it gave me the understanding to know that while I was trying to go in one space, God was actually trying to quantum leap me into a new direction, but I was fighting against the will simply because I was doing my own thing instead of listening, instead of understanding, and instead of just rocking and going with it. But now that I am here and I'm able to rock and go with it, I get this understanding that, wait, this is the message that I'm supposed to be bringing. And even though I don't know why this is the message, I also know and understand that as I'm delivering this message, more and more people are tuning in. More and more people want to hear what I have to say. More and more people want more and more information about this phenomenon of premium digital products. But the other thing that I know is that this era of premium digital products is needed if you want to sustain your business for the next 18 to 24 months. And notice that I'm not saying this will help your business in 18 to 24 months. I'm saying this is what your business needs to be sustainable for the next 18 to 24 months. If you had 4 core premium digital products in your business, you could set yourself up to have tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional revenue. But when you set up these products, there's a couple of things that you have to think about and you need to have in place. One, you need to make sure that you don't go into creating products and ignoring the other aspects of your business. So whether that's your higher ticket products, whether that's creating content, whether that's nurturing your list, right? You actually need to be able to create these products and still do all the other things that you need to be able to do. That's one of the reasons why in the New Money Honey series, I focus so heavily on using live stream, because whenever I create premium digital products, I always pull them from live stream because it allows me to do multiple things at one time. If I am on live stream, I am connecting with my audience and communicating my value. If I am on live stream, I can then take that recording and can repurpose it. I'm not just repurposing it into things like blog posts and emails. No, I'm repurposing my live streams into premium digital products and into lead magnets. And then I'm using things like simplified automation like ManyChat to drive sales to the premium digital product library. It allows you to kill multiple birds with one stone. Then this idea of having 4 core products, I really think those 4 core products you should have need to be tied to your energetic framework. Your energetic framework is going to be the bridge that you are using to move people from where they are to their desired result, right? So your highest tier of your premium digital product needs to be a comprehensive, self-paced option that gets them to a desired result. And then you should have 3 additional products at minimum that's going to take them through a various phase of the product, right? But remembering, you don't want it to be blatant and obvious. You want everything that you are doing to really help them get to a need. And for those of you who sell the intangible, meaning that what it is that you are selling is an intangible, is not something as easy as, hey, you're going to write your sales page, or hey, I'm going to help you create a sales funnel. You have to think about what is that tangible result that they can get from the intangible thing that you are teaching them. And the reverse is also true. If you are someone that people leave with a tangible result from, like creating a sales page or a sales funnel, what is the long lasting effect of that tangible thing that they walk away from? Because both of us need both sides of the coin in order for this to be able to work. And then the third aspect of this is making sure that while you are doing this, you are actually growing an engaged email community. So that does mean moving people from social media, moving them onto your email list, and then using your premium products to not only move them to your list, but also into your higher tier products and services. This is actually going to allow you to get out of the sales call fog and like that you live in. I started using premium digital products because I no longer wanted to do sales calls. In 2017, I was like, I don't want to do sales calls, but I still want to sell these 5-figure offers. And everybody told me I was crazy and I couldn't get it to work. And I was determined. One thing you're not going to do is tell me what I can't do. So if you tell me I can't do something, you can bet a fat woman that sings opera, I'm going to get out there and figure out how to do it. Because one thing you're not going to do is play in my face like we on Broadway. Absolutely not. So I started using a combination of live stream and premium digital products to move people into my higher ticket options. And it worked really well. The reason how I know it worked really well is not just because I was making money, but here I am in 2024 and people will go down the rabbit hole of my Facebook Lives and they will reach out to me to ask, can they speak to me about having a sales funnel built in their business? And these are from trainings that I did 3, 4, 5 years ago, where people are still trying to get in touch with me to work for them or with them or bringing me into their masterminds, right? But I got so in a fog of comparison that I started to self-sabotage. And now I kind of have to get on the hamster wheel of what does content actually look like in this phase. So for me, that is getting back on live stream. And I'm actually excited to get back on live stream. And I'm doing this because of just paying attention to the interactiveness of platforms like TikTok. Now, one thing I believe is I really do believe that platforms tend to, piggyback off of each other, right? We do know that just about every platform has some type of live component. And TikTok is a phenomenon in itself. And I really do think that the other social media platforms, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the LinkedIns, the Snapchats, and things like that, even if whether you on them or not, you don't have to be on all of them. But I do really believe that that interactiveness that TikTok has, from the authentic storytelling to the live streams to the shop, is something that all of the other platforms are going to start to create. And for me, it's always about being ahead of the curve, right? Let me tell you about TikTok Live. TikTok Live is such a phenomenon in itself that I was on TikTok last week and there was a girl who was on live. She had this countdown that was in her live and it was counting down and it was reading time together. And she was on live just reading her book and her community was reading with them. Like some of them were talking in the comments, but people were literally sending her gifts and money because she created space for them to read and study together. Like, can you imagine that? Like sitting on live stream for a half hour and being like, hey, this is our reading block. And people just joining you and they sending you TikTok gifts because you created a quiet space for them. Then I saw one girl who apparently she comes live every day and she does her morning routine and her nighttime routine with her live community, down to her skincare, like, turning down her bed. Like that's the jam of what she does. And people were on there and they were sending her money to do it. And I'm like, it just goes to show that one, there's a community for everything. But two, people are really craving space and opportunity. And if you can create that space and opportunity, you can do just about anything, but it has to be about who you are and your most authentic version of you, that true self of you. that version of you that you learn to become just by having access to the energetic blueprint in human design. So that's just all I had today, and what I really wanted you to think about. Like, one, how can you make sure your business is set up for sustainability for the next 18 to 24 months? Are you using premium digital products? And if you are you being intentional about sharing them with your community? If you aren't, what can you do to set yourself up to have at least 4 core premium digital products? And the last question is, what's keeping you from being the most authentic, true version of you, so that way you can live in your most desired life? Those are your reflection questions for this episode of Big Profit Energy. I hope that you have an amazing weekend. And as always, come hang out with me on Instagram. I can't wait to hear your aha moments. And if you would like a free copy of your human design chart, head over to our website at www.bigprofitenergy.com. Hit the link for a free human design chart, download your chart, and also receive a free guidebook that is going to tell you how to use your chart to become the most authentic, truest version of yourself. I'll see you next time.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Big Profit Energy. I want you to remember, your power and success are in your hands. Keep channeling your main character energy, and don't forget to manifest your dreams into reality. Until next time, stay empowered, stay inspired, and keep igniting that big profit energy. Be sure to hit subscribe for more, and let's keep this energy flowing. I'll see you on the next episode of Big Profit Energy.